Bizarre Brain Comics. This is a 30.5-inch Batman action figure. This is from Batman Begins. This one's mine. My wife has one too. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time, I want to take a look at this Brave and the Bold, number 104 from 1972. And before that, though, I want to mention another YouTube channel. This is Swag Duh. He also does comics and pop culture stuff. That's Swag Duh. All one word, spelled with 2 G's and 2 H's. Swag Duh. Okay. Brave and the Bold, number 107 from 1972. Featuring Batman and Deadman. Written by Bob Haney with art by Jim Aparo. I've talked about all this before. This is 1972. This is when Jim Aparo was still fairly new at DC. He had recently come over from Charlton Comics, where he had still been doing the Phantom for several months, as well as doing Aquaman at DC at the same time. It just so happened that both titles were bi-monthly, and so he could do an issue every month. And then he got on with Brave and the Bold. This would have been early in his Batman career, who then went on to be one of the primary Batman artists for many, many years, and he is my favorite Batman artist. This cover is drawn by Nick Cardy, who was doing a lot of covers at this time, and he was a good artist. He had, in the 60s, for quite some time, he had done the Aquaman title himself. Okay. Now, and Brave and the Bold is a comic book title from DC Comics, published from 1955 to 1983. And it followed by various reprint series and mini-series and revival series. And initially, in the 50s, it was for, just that Brave and Bold characters. It's a lot of daring do and action. That's where we got stuff like, the Viking Prince, and DC's version of Robin Hood and the Silent Knight and stuff like that. A lot of historical adventure stuff. And then when the superheroes and stuff came back, it morphed into a team title where they would be teaming up, two superhero characters, mostly superhero characters, in their stories, until it finally became primarily a Batman team-up book, where every issue had Batman teaming up with somebody, aside from his normal team-up with Superman. Okay. The contents and focus of the series has varied over the years. Now, here is teamed up with Deadman. And Deadman, in case you're unaware, was a ghostly superhero character published by DC. And he first appeared in Strange Adventures number 205 from 1967, created by Arnold Drake and Carmine Infantino. And he is Boston Brand, a circus trapeze artist who was murdered during a performance. And didn't seem to be common back then. All these circus performers killed it. You know, that's what happened with Dick Grayson's parents, you know, Robin. And even for other various publishers, the circus seemed to be a breeding ground for supervillains and or superheroes. And his spirit was given the power by a Hindu god, Ramakrishna, to seek out his murderer and attain justice. And he is empowered with the ability to possess the body of a living being, and thus is able to interact with the living world, which is what he does here. And it's what he's always doing. Now, his appearance has changed somewhat over the decades. Now, apparently, when he was first created, they wanted to make him look very skeletal, but the editors didn't want to go for that. But eventually, I guess in most recent decades, they have made him look that very, very, very skeletal, while still keeping him in this regular dead man costume. I actually prefer this version to the skeletal version, because he just basically appears as he did in life, as is common for ghosts, and in this case wearing what he died in, his aerialist costume, including, because he was billed as the dead man, and he had this mask and makeup on to make him look like a living corpse. So here we go, Batman and Deadman. And then this is I really enjoyed this. Remember, this is 1972. This is just a few years after the camp of the Adam West Batman 66. And yet, this is nothing like that Batman at all. This is a darker, more serious, more violent Batman. And this is squarely in the Bronze Age. This is the era in the Bronze Age that I liked Batman the best. It was darker, more, and just a more believable character. Although, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy reading the campy, goofy Golden Age and Silver Age Batman stories, but they're like completely different characters as far as I'm concerned. And we start off action-packed right in the middle of a gun battle. Blam, 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 blam. In Gotham City, a gun battle between bank robbers and or gangsters anyway, and the cops, with Commissioner Gordon there right in the thick of the gun battle, which just seems unusual for the police commissioner to be on the scene participating in a shootout. And Batman is there, and they're all pinned down. They can't make any headway. They used tear gas, but the crooks have gas masks. So Batman is about to change things up, and he says it's the time. Said, "Yes, Commissioner, it's struck. The hour of the gun." Batman, not that. And he reaches into the police car and grabs a gun, and he jumps over the barricade and heads straight into the blazing guns of the villains, blasting away with the gun, brap, 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 leaping over the burning car, whoo, and right into the fray, through the front door into the fray. This is taking them completely by surprise, and then this guy tries a little trick that he has apparently done before, with the switching his gun hand, but it's not good enough. He doesn't get Batman, and blam! When the cops get in there just in time to blow that fella away. And it turns out this had been a contingency that they had Batman had with the police for some time. The gun, because Batman refuses to use a gun, and he has his policy against killing, which is so well known. And this is a rifle that looks like a Mini 14. I don't know what it is, but I can't be sure. That was loaded with blanks just specifically for this contingency, and said, now this guy here, he's Waxy Doyle. I recognize the trick that he did, but it's not his face. They come up with medical examiner has confirmed through that his face has been completely changed, his fingerprints and other stuff, but it is all this done by plastic surgery. But it is indeed the guy he thought, but he's supposed to be dead, but he is now. And they conclude that someone somewhere, they got this one clue, the old standby matchbook clue, which has become such a trope that it makes you groan whenever you see it, of someplace. And this is a spa in Florida. So Batman decides to go undercover. Bruce Wayne, under a pseudonym, goes to the spa, blah, 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 checking the place out. It's a regular spa, doing all his regular healthy stuff for several days. But he sees one spot that no one is allowed to go into, and at night he slips in, but he is caught. Of course, he's going in his undercover identity, and he gets in, but he gets caught, and so he can't make any further headway that way. So he comes up with the idea of calling in Deadman, and of course he uses a newspaper ad, classified ad for, and Deadman spots it because he's reading the newspaper over this guy's shoulder because he's dead and he can't hold the thing. So he goes and he talks to Batman by using the body of the Commissioner Gordon. Gives him the scoop, wants to go. And then he goes, Deadman, he basically tortures himself by going to a circus to see someone else getting the accolades that should have been his, and someone spots him. What? As it turns out, it's a guy who is being possessed by the god Ramakrishna, and it gives him some weird prophecy type thing that he doesn't understand, and until the end. Then he is riding on the outside of the plane with Batman on the inside, and gets in, and the idea is he takes over the body of one of the main people involved in this organization, and he gets in, and Batman has prepped him to memorize a whole bunch of gangsters, because they're thinking these gangsters are going there, paying a lot of money to get their identity scrubbed and getting a new identity, and that's what they're here for. And including this guy here, who just shows up, who happens to know Richie, the guy who he was impersonating or possessing. And the blonde lady here, she is the one who's actually in charge. She is the one in charge of the spa and this whole operation. And the Richie is her lover. So he knows. So Deadman knows who this guy is. Meanwhile, he's trying to get the lowdown, get some information while acting, and he gets all lovey-dovey with the girl and playing the part. It's a nice single panel montage of events over time as they're going to the races and seeing highlight out dancing and playing on the beach and all that stuff. Meanwhile, stuff is still going on, and he slips away to see Batman on the outside, of course, as in his guise as Bruce Wayne, and Batman realizes, hey, he's falling for this blonde chick. She's really seems to be really cool, other than being a criminal. Yeah, he's got the info, but he's not going to turn it over to Batman yet. So he he reveals himself to the girl. He doesn't say that he's there to get info, but reveals that he is a ghost and he loves her and all this other stuff. And she's like, yeah, you've been so good to me. I like you better with Dead Man than the other guy. And so he's looking for the evidence. Batman had the evidence and it was swiped. It means that Dead Man had possessed him and hid away the evidence. So he decides he's got to slip in himself. He's like, sometimes Batman is downright brutal and cruel sometimes with Dead Man in the course of this story. But he slips in, takes the guise of someone who's already in there from one of the lockers. It just so happens that the person he claims to be has died that morning on the operating table. So he's caught, and of course they don't know who he is. They figure he's probably a cop or something, and so they have him made up as one of their guests who's getting his face changed, but just using makeup because so they can do it quickly. He's unconscious, and they put him out on the street. He comes to, and they have him disguised as this criminal. Gave a call to the cops that this deadly wanted criminal is out there. They got to shoot him on sight. He's armed and dangerous. Well, Dead Man gets there just in time to save him. He does get winged by the cops, but since Dead Man knows what's going on, he gets him away, gets the makeup off and everything. Writes a note on the ground to Batman, and then depossesses him. So Bats is apprised of the situation. So he gets back because his regular host had put him out, put him asleep, and repossesses him. And he goes to see the girl, and she is getting wicked and downright vicious. And he still loves her. Batman smashes in. Says, so you're Batman's little helper, Dead Man. But Batman is in the way, and she's drawn down on him, and she's about to fire. And he said he can't possess her quickly enough to stop her from shooting Batman. So he draws his gun, his host's gun, and shoots her. So he has killed her, and he is horrified and terribly dismayed that she's dead, really dead. You lied to me, Rama. You cheated me. Because he thought with her dead, she would be with him. But she's not there. Her ghost does not appear. Oh, and he's still so alone. Meanwhile, the host says, what the heck is going on? Well, meanwhile, he has found all that evidence, has enough evidence to put this guy away. And Dead Man is still... Oh, Lily, I'll never forget you. You were loved, doll, really loved. Why did you do this to me, Rama? Why? Oh, it's very touching, very poignant. And this is, so I like, this is the kind of like Batman stories that I like. This one was very touching and very, very poignant for Dead Man. But a real dig in type mystery or undercover op or whatever you want to call it, the kind of Batman stories that I like, which we got a lot more of in the 70s and 80s, and less of the huge big storylines. Now I still like some of the big storylines but it's Batman as the detective that I like best, and that's why I was really impressed by this story. So that's all I've got for you for Brave and the Bold, Batman and Dead Man. So thank you very much for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. And do leave your comments down below. What do you think of Dead Man? How do you like this version of Batman? Let me know. And remember, comics are art.